All right. Is this everybody? Okay. All right. So today's class is on lighting design principles and simulations. The main objective here is to just give everybody some basic understandings of the of lighting design and the software to do your own quickly and easily, just to get good rough ideas. This is a AIA. You get AIA credit for this, health, safety, and welfare credit. And so we're going to just look at some basic terminology and some basic principles, things you want to be aware of when you're doing, when you're selecting your light fixtures, and then we'll look at some software and talk about the some circadian rhythm type stuff as well. So just some examples of what I thought was some nice lighting. So light quality or quantity, referred to as.
Hey, Jimmy, sorry, this is Andrew. You're not showing your screen.
Yeah, I know. So you got to go back.
Start
Do over.
What's your name?
So yeah, the audio was working.
Hi, James.
So illumination is just the distribution of light on a horizontal surface for to produce the lighting that we all experience. There's a direct illumination and indirect illumination. Indirect illumination is always really nice, as we all know. Direct illumination can be more severe sources of glare, and so uplighting is always nice if you can use walls and ceilings for reflected light. Illumin is a measure; it's a unit of measure, and it refers to the light that a candle will produce at a distance of 1 foot from a 1 foot square surface. Which in foot candles are what we use mostly, and a lux, or that's a foot candle, and then a lux is the light emitted by a candle at 1 meter to a 1 square meter surface. That's people on the metric system typically use the lux for light measurement. And so this is, and I just put this in here so that you can come and grab this. Everyone can come and get this presentation and look at some of the different properties of different types of light. And it's almost irrelevant because virtually everything we do now is LED. But it's interesting if you look at the efficacy and the lifetime rating in hours for the lifespan of fixtures. You can see that LED fixtures are, pretty up there, and actually 2,700 to 11,000 hours or 10,000 hours is really pretty low. You can get them now that are 15 to 20,000 hours for LED lighting. And so if we look at CRI, so color rendition index, that refers to a light being able to render color and materials that are more accurate to what the sunlight would do. So that's why a lot of times you guys take materials outside to look at them, or you go by a window, is because the light produced by the sun is the most pure light. And artificial lighting always has a tendency to render material colors not 100% precise. So the CRI, color rendition index, is a rating that indicates how well a light fixture renders colors to what you would expect to see them in natural light. So a CRI of 90 is is really good. That's sort of what we try to shoot for. A CRI of 80 is sort of like the minimum that we want to use. Anything below 80, you know, you just get not well looking skin tones and things like that.
It doesn't look well.
You notice she's almost smiling in the CRI 90, the Mona Lisa look. And so another measure of light quality is called the R9 value. And the R9 is not included in the CRI. The CRI doesn't take reds into account in its rating. So the R9 is a unit of measure that does deal with that. And so on the bottom images, you can see a low R9 value. So that would be a value of 5 or something like that. The image on the right, the fruit basket that's got the more vibrant colors, that's got a high R9 value. And to give you a sort of a range, an R value of 50 or higher is museum quality color renditioning. So if you ever go into a museum, you're looking at paintings, chances are the fixtures that they have are at least an R50 rating. And so you get, and depending on the, on what you're lighting, if you're doing a food venue where you want the vegetables to look good, you want to pay attention to the R9 value on the fixtures that you're specifying, because although the CRI will tell you, will give you, you know, it'll render colors well and higher, it doesn't really tell you what it's doing with the R9. So if you want your, anything that's a rendition of red, if that's really important to you, then you want to look for fixtures with a high R9 value. The Lauren illumination fixtures that we've used in student rooms and the panels, those are all R50.
And in our bathroom upstairs?
Yep, our bathroom upstairs has an R50 light fixture.
Is that scale 1 to 100?
Yeah, I think it's 1 to 100. I think. I've never seen a 100, but.
Are any of our consultants aware of practicing this, or is this something else that's trained?
It's something that we bring to the table. I mean, so for us, I mean, we don't want the engineers doing our lighting design from a design perspective. We care about how the fixture looks, and we know where color is important to us. It does. It does. And we know where the fixtures or where the spaces are that we want a better quality light, and we have the ability to choose that. And then we just tell the engineers, you're responsible for making sure that we have the right number to get the right foot candles.
Is there a cost associated with the R?
There generally is, a little. It's not significant. And so some of the important things that you want to be aware of when you're doing lighting, and this is all about comfort, is your ratios, your brightness ratio, your uniformity ratio. The important one here is sort of the uniformity ratio is it's your average foot candles divided by the what is it, your minimum foot candles out there. Right. It's the minimum lighting level compared to the average lighting level in the specified area. So if you can get a ratio of 0.6 or higher, then you have a good uniformity ratio. And the reason that's important is because the human eye, when we're in an environment where our eyes have to constantly adjust to different lighting levels, it becomes stressful on your eyes, and it'll make you tired, and it could give you a headache. You know, it's just that for comfort, you want to have a high uniformity ratio of a 0.6 or better if possible. The image that's up there on the screen is just sort of showing you different uniformity ratios, and this is for the tech student performance dining project that we're doing. So all the green that you see, the better those colors match, all that green, the more uniform the lighting is. Where you see the red, the bright red, those are tables or places where we have drop lights on top of them for a higher level of lighting. So, for example, let me put my mouse on it.
Servers in the kitchen.
So the kitchen on the right, over on the far right, those are the kitchens. Those are at a higher lighting level, but it's consistent color. You know, so that means the uniformity ratio is accurate. And the kitchen on the left is a much higher, well, I say much higher, it's just a brighter color. There's a higher level of foot candles in that space, as there is over the countertops, because that's the serving area. So we need a higher level of foot candles over the serving counters.
So what's the uniformity ratio of that particular?
So this one, I didn't calculate the uniformity ratio because I have these hot spots inside of the uniform area. I could probably get one for the kitchen, but I think what I actually did was I used one surface on this whole thing. And so when you want to look at the uniformity ratio, which we'll look at in a few minutes, you have to have, it'll only do it per space. And that space has to have its own calculation zone. This is just one big calculation zone.
Is it at the floor level or?
Well, it depends if what you're looking at. Here, this is measured at 30 inches. Okay.
I'm not going to belabor this, but that looks uniform.
It is.
How do you get to 0.6?
You divide this always gets
Average light
divided by the minimum.
divided by the minimum foot candle that you specify for that area.
Uniformity ratio is the lighting level. That would be the average lighting level in a specified area. It's quality parameters. Okay, where was the actual definition of the division?
Ratio of the minimum.
Oh, there it is. Minimum lighting
Divided by
level divided by your average lighting level, and their software will tell you that. It's not, you can't do it.
We know that if it's 0.6 or higher, then we're good. We don't have to be one.
Well, that would be really hard. That would be almost impossible.
Impossible. Okay.
Yeah.
So here to big, real quick, so in big states, this is more just you're evaluating the
So Jimmy, do we have the?
Yeah, on this one, I just visually look at it and go, okay, I've got consistent green in all the seating area. I've got consistent orange in the kitchen. I've got consistent red on the serving counters. So you're not going to see any variation in lighting in those areas that you will be. Keith, you had a question?
Yeah, so I'm assuming our fixtures on this project are the R50 in the food areas.
I don't know. But we have time to change that.
Or the ones over
there, but they are high CRI.
Right. Okay.
So we'll have the color rendition, but we didn't select high. We didn't particularly select high R9 values because we had 90 CRI. Now, some manufacturers don't publish their R9 values, and some of them don't do it for good reason. But some do. But you can always call them or have your lighting rep get those R9 values, and it does cost more. So you don't want to use high R9 where you don't need to. You want to pay attention. If you have a space with a lot of natural wood finishes and things like that, you would want a high R9 value. If you're doing anything to do with art, you would want that as well.
So the salad bar.
Yeah, those are good places to go with a high R9. If you can't get the R9, just get a minimum of a 90 CRI. And yeah, you saw the previous pictures, where even the high even the high CRI gives you, it gives you good representation of color.
Jimmy, is there a big difference between a fixture that has a rating of CR 90 and CRI 100? Are there CRI 100 fixtures?
I've never seen a 100. There might be like 95, 98.
Is there a significant difference between 90?
Yeah, the sun would be 100. Yeah. Outside, you'll get, in the middle of the day.
What she's saying is there a big difference between a 90 and a 95?
Yeah, I don't think visually you would notice a 90 to a 95.
It seems like there's at least in your image, there's a big difference between 90 and 80. So at what point, like if you start going higher than 90, is it even worth? I would imagine like those fixtures are more expensive that go higher than 90. So is it?
Yeah, they are. No, I think a 90 is as good as you can expect. And then if, just depending on how important color is to you, you can go, I mean, you can tell the difference in the top image, the difference between a 60 and an 80 CRI. That's visually, you can tell a difference. On the bottom, those images have the same CRI, but one on the left has a low R9 and the one on the right has a high R9. Now, if you took the image, the basket on the left, and you used the same R9 value, but you had a different CRI, then the difference would be comparable to what you see on the upper right.
So yes, the R9 is more important than the CRI.
For your reds.
For your reds.
Yeah, CRIs deal with, they basically are talking, it's about the rendering, they evaluate the pastels. Okay, and the R9 deals with pure red and the variations from there on out. All right, so another thing that you really want to be careful about when you pick your lighting is glare. All right, so and you have indirect glare and you have direct glare. Direct glare is, to me, it's the worst, although indirect glare bouncing off of a white surface or a monitor or something like that can be annoying. It's straining on the eyes, so you always want to be aware of the kind of glare that your fixtures will produce. And so, for example, if you look at the top image, this is a theater, and with lighting where you see the light source, that's a source of glare. And so, like on the Virginia Tech CID, the Virginia Tech CID project, we have a tall space like that, a performance space, and the engineers had actually suggested a light fixture where the LED engine, the light source was at the face of the fixture, the can lights. And so when you are sitting and looking at this really tall ceiling, you're going to see all of these points of glare from all those fixtures like you see in the top image here. The bottom image uses a can light, but it's probably a hyperbolic or probably not even parabolic. It's probably a hyperbolic lens, so that the light engine is deep in the fixture, so you'll end up with deeper fixtures, and it has a special shaped reflector that tries to get as much of that light out, but it hides the light source unless you're standing directly under it.
So Jimmy, I'm sure our Matt appreciates it, but the remedy is matte surfaces with an E.
Matte surface is what?
With an E.
Right.
Well,
It's a spelling.
but so lens is an option.
I'm sorry, I was trying to find the misspelling. What?
Well, I was thinking about you were referring to a lens, actually.
A lens can help. A lens can help.
Yeah. And baffles rather than blind, but
Right.
that's for direct.
Right. But
Being baffles. Lens options.
so
Just my natural issue.
I'm talking about the actual fixtures in the direct glare. But I mean, you can mitigate some of the glare by choosing the right lens. Is it a prismatic lens? Is it a frosted lens? Sometimes you can take care of it with that, but you lose light when you go through a frosted lens and things like that. So you lose efficiency. So if you look at the fixtures we have in our office, all those linears, those are low glare fixtures because the LEDs, you don't see the LEDs. They're actually on the bottom inside edge pointing up and bouncing the light off of the reflector. And so that's why these fixtures are softer in their light quality. And so indirect light is always preferable. Again, you lose efficiency, but indirect light is always going to give you a better quality, less stress for your eyes lighting.
Jimmy, did you get that fixed on the CID project?
I'm sorry?
Get that fixed on the CID project?
Yeah, we had a meeting with the engineers, and I told them to use a hyperbolic lens. We have another meeting tomorrow, so we'll address it again tomorrow. All right, so circadian rhythm, you all have heard about this, right? Okay, so on the left, you can see there's a hospital room where this is really important. You're seeing it adopted by lots and lots of hospitals, where the light color changes based on the time of day to mimic what's happening outside, because our bodies are programmed to respond to the time of day. You know, that's why one of the reasons you get sleepy when it's dark, and that's why the time change for us in the fall can be hard for some people, because it messes with your body to a degree. So this is a good diagram. So you might want to try to grab that and look at that on the PowerPoint. But you know, there are lots of things that are our parts of our body, functions of our body that are affected by light color. And our clock, internal clock, most importantly. Okay, so let's get to the actual lighting design stuff here. And here we go. So one of the things that we sometimes need to do is when we're putting light in a space, lighting fixtures, we generally don't know how many we need and what the spacing is, but we kind of want to have an idea so that we can match it up to our reflected ceiling and sort of have an expectation of how many fixtures we're going to have there. And so any of the if you go to the Acuity Brands website, so they're the only manufacturer that I'm aware of that has a free lighting design tool that you can use right in the software or right on their website. So if you go to Acuity, for example, which is where we are now, and you look at any fixture that you like, you know, just find any fixture they have that you like, and you scroll down to that fixture, there's going to be a section that's where it has the specification sheets for that light. And then further down from that, it's going to have the photometry BIM. And this is on virtually all of their fixtures. You can scroll down to there, and it shows you the E-panel fixture over here. This is a really inexpensive 2x2 LED surface mount, or we used a bunch of these on the tech project because they're cheap. And we didn't want to get kicked out because the price was too high. But anyway, so over to the right, there's a lighting report, there's some photometric files, a BIM file, and then over to the right of that, there are design tools. And the ones that we're going to look at now is the interior design tool. So if you click on that, I'm going to pick this one here for the 40K.
Where are you? We're not seeing you.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Going to that. There we go. Okay. All right, so let me go back up to the top. So this is just the Acuity Brands website, and I've just preset it to go to this particular light fixture, just because it's a really inexpensive general 2x2, 2x4 light. And I'm scrolling down to the photometry BIM files. I'm going to look at this E-panel here. Let me get a 2x2. I'll scroll down to the 2x2, 3,400 lumens, 40,000 Kelvin, 4,000 Kelvin, and I'm going to go to the interior tool. All right, this is really easy, but it'll really help you determine how many lights you need in a space. And so it comes up with this interface where you select the dimensions of your room, so you don't have to have a drawing or anything, just know generally how big your room is. Let's say the room is 40 feet by 20 feet, and I have 12-foot ceilings, and I want to do the work plane at 3 feet. So at a desk, okay, this is a classroom maybe. The ceiling, let's say it's a 2x2 ceiling. It'll put the little grid in here. And the room reflectances, so these are important, and these are default standards. So generally your ceiling is going to be some shade of white. 80% reflectivity is a default for your ceilings. Walls, they're figuring 50%, but if you know that if your walls are going to be like a white or an off-white or an eggshell, you know, you would maybe change that reflectivity to a 70% or an 80%. And you can look up colors and materials, Google it, and get reflectivity, okay? And then your floors generally are darker, most always darker, 20%. And now, under criteria, it asks you, what's the foot candle level that you're trying to reach? So let's just say this is an office or a classroom. Well, we know for a classroom, 50 is a good target, okay? And then, and you can constrain the spacing of your fixtures, number of rows, number of columns. We're not going to go through that detail. So what it does is it tells you over here on the right, it shows you how many lights you need. If you look at the layout tab here, it will give you the spacing. So it's 6 feet in one direction and 8 feet in the other direction. So 6 by 8 spacing on these fixtures will give you an illuminance of 50-foot candles, a power density of 0.59 watts per square foot, which is good. I'd like to get it less than that, and you need 15 of the fixtures, and that's your spacing, okay? But you can come down to the bottom here, and here's the fixture. And I can say, well, you know what, I want to do another one. So you hit the little plus tab here. And it takes you to for me, it's taking me to the Acuity brand directory on my hard drive, which you're not going to have, but that's okay. You can go and find any IES file of any product and download it to the project directory. And the IES files are almost always available for every light fixture that you would look at. Select it, download it, save it to the directory. And then when you create that new scenario that we just did, you navigate to the file directory where you have your file. And I'm going to pick a linear fixture, and I'm going to pick a linear lens, linear. So it's showing me all those fixtures, but you would just see your one IES file here that you want. And when you select on it, it gives you information down on this bottom screen that says, these are the lumens, this is the efficiency, and all of this information. And generally, sometimes it'll also show you a picture of the fixture. This particular one does not. Let me go back to Lithonia. That is Lithonia. Let's do downlights. So here, for example, it's showing me this fixture looks like that. These are the performance characteristics: color, temperature, recessed downlight, blah blah blah. Okay, so it's and then you hit select down here, and it adds that fixture, all of its information in here for you, and then it gives you a layout of what you need in that room for that fixture. So that's a 2x4 spacing on downlights to get 50-foot candles, but that fixture is probably not. I don't see. It's only 840 lumens. 840 lumens for the. And remember, a lumen is a candle, the light that a candle emits onto a 1 foot square surface at 1 foot away. So that's pretty low. If you use a 2,000 lumen fixture there, you probably have half as many fixtures. So this is where you get to sort of like play with quantities and performance and.
Can you do a combination like what I thought you were going to do?
No.
Some hand lights around the.
Not here. So this is the web tool, and it's just to let you get a general idea of how many fixtures you need to reach a lighting level in a space that you're working on. So you do it. It's a room by room kind of thing. Okay. So that's the and again, if you go to if you go to the Acuity website and look up, and they've got, here are their brands. These are all the brands that they have, a lot of them that we use. ND is a really good fixture. Juno is an expensive. Enlight are their controls. Mark Architectural, we use them a lot. Peerless, that's what we have here in our office. Winona. So those are the brands that they have, but within their, an American Lighting is a pretty good one too. So you can generally find them, or you can just come here to use the tool. Go to any fixture, pull up the tool, and then import your IES files and test them. So this works for any brand.
So can you show us how you uploaded IES file?
Okay, so let's look at, let me go to Juno, and let me go to product selector.
But it could also be from another manufacturer.
Yeah. Any manufacturer.
It's not an acute.
So let me see what we can find here. Let's do a. Oh, it's not an Acuity brand. Okay, so who would that be? Well, it's going to work the same way. It's going to work.
Or just for the sake of time, maybe just show us where in the tool you upload.
Right. Okay. So
file.
So here we are. I'm gonna pick this Juno round thing here.
Slim form.
Too late. All right. And then if I come down here, I should find a place that has, and it'll be in a different place on every manufacturer's website. I'm going to go to photometry. So it brings me down to photometry. I expand that. And that's BIM, downlight photometry. Select it. It's going to download a zip file. And I'm going to go find the fixture that I want. And you might have to look at the cut sheet to see what these numbers mean. But generally, you can sort of figure it out. Anything with a K is your color, your temperature, color temperature. Your CRI is the next number, and then your voltage. And generally, the first series of numbers will give you some idea of how many lumens it has. This is 700 lumens. It's a 5-inch fixture. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to put it on the desktop, along with all the other stuff I have on the desktop. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and, did it paste it? Paste. Okay, so it did paste it. And then I'm going to go back to, here we go. I'm going to go back to here, and then, and again, you can, the photometry, BIM stuff will be on all of their products, but so it'll be easy to pull it back up. So here we are, there it is. I'm going to add, and then I'm going to go to my computer, browse, go to the desktop, and it's not showing me just IES file, so I got to scroll through here. The IES file will look like a text file. That's up there. Okay, here's one. This one here. So it was this one. Okay. So I'm going to open it. Okay, and here it gives me the information on that fixture, the lumens and efficiency. It's 100% efficient, and so forth. And I just say select, and it adds it to the B tab, and then that's how many I need. So it's a low lumen fixture. It's 779 lumens. And that's the Juno light, and this is the model number.
So this tool only takes into consideration whatever level you set that reference plane at. It doesn't.
The work plane.
It doesn't take the walls or anything like that into consideration.
Oh, no, it takes the walls into consideration.
I mean, like what kind of light wash or level you're going to get on the side of the wall.
No, this is evaluating a horizontal surface. All right, so let's put that away. Now, the other program that we have is called Visual, and we'll put this on the graphic station. Visual is the 3D version of the web app we were just using. So this is the full-blown one, and it's like $100. so it's really inexpensive. And you select, do you want to do an interior or an exterior? And one thing I didn't show you that I'm not going to go through the steps on it, but you can also, if I go back to this Juno fixture, you can also look at a wall wash application. And if you do a wall wash, you set your wall dimensions, your setback of the light fixture, and then it'll show you what that wall will look like with foot candles based on that fixture. Okay, so wall wash, you can put it on the ground and point it up to the light or up to the wall and so forth.
Does it allow you to, it just assumes a flat wall?
Yeah, flat wall. So then we go to visual, which is the full version of what we just looked at. So this is like AGI, you know, this is a lighting design program. Now, what I'm going to do here is I want to import a CAD file. So this will import AutoCAD, DXF, PDFs. I'm going to pull in this simple little floor plan that I made, and I made it simple because I want it to be fast. So it brings it in, and this was actually this is a export from Revit as a CAD file. Okay. And this is how I do all of our stuff internally. Now, right now, if I go to a little isometric view, that's just a flat surface, okay? It's not three-dimensional. So what you do in visual, and this is really, really simple, but first of all, you've got snaps down at the bottom, perpendicular, snaps to endpoint, midpoint, your typical CAD stuff here. You've got a measuring tool if you want to measure the distance on something. But basically, there's just a couple of steps you have to do to really get it going. You can select a room, rectangular or non-rectangular. I'm going to select rectangular room for speed, and I'm going to say these are 10-foot ceilings. I'm going to give it a name, room 1, and again, 80, 50, 20 reflectances. I'm going to leave those as they are, but if you change the color, you can get more accurate on that, okay? Now, so one of the things you're going to want to know is, well, let's draw the room, and you don't have to be exact. The light within 18 inches of the wall is not considered usable space. I mean, how often are you sitting within 18 inches of the wall, right? So what I generally do is I just get close to the corner, and I get close to the other corner, and I get within a foot or so, and I'm going to go to a 3D view now. And I just drew a room, okay? I'm going to go back to the top view. And I'm going to do another room, another square one, and I'm going to put it here. These are the zones that I want to analyze. I'm going to do another one here, okay? Now what you have is a room, okay? But what you want is you need a calculation surface, a surface upon which the light will fall and it will read foot candles, okay? So that is under calculations. So I go to calculations and I select rectangle for a calculation zone. Okay, I'm creating a zone, and I'm going to call it room 1. Just giving it a name so you keep up with it. You can offset from the boundary if you want your calculations. And I've actually never used that before, but
what did you set for the offset?
That's what I was looking for. That's why I said I've never used that before. Row spacing, column spacing, height, room, points, precision. I don't know. We're not. Oh, it's just. I think it is 18 inches off the perimeter. This one actually calculates on the boundary. Okay. So it defaults to offset from boundary. Now this height. What is your calculation plane height? Okay. So let's assume this is classrooms or offices. We're going to use 3 feet. Or it's 2.6 feet or 4 feet, something 2.6, I think, to be more precise. And we want our calculation points to be every 2 feet, 2 feet by 2 feet grid. Okay. So there we have quickly selected. No, I haven't actually created them yet. So I've set that. Here's room 1. And that falls inside of your room. And now you can see the grid that it drew. I'm going to do another one. And this is going to be calculation 2. Whoops. Hit escape to undo. rectangular. Do another one. Okay, so those are my floors or my working plane. But I'm going to go to a 3D view here, and I also want to look at I want to look at a wall. Okay, so you can do a calculation zone, which is a surface, and select the surface, and we'll just do that one. But you can select as many as you want, and it becomes a calculation zone. Okay, now that is, I need to move that, so I'm going to go to modify. I'm going to go to move, move. I'm going to select that calculation zone, and I'm going to go to the top view here. So this is your basic CAD stuff. Right click, and I'm going to pull this back. I'm going to turn on my ortho here, and I'm going to move it back just in front of my wall there. If I had turned off offset, it would have been on, so that wall would have turned into that. Yeah. All right, so there we go. All right, now I'm going to go back to the plan view, and now I need some light fixtures, right? So I'm going to go to Luminaire. And there are all sorts of edit features. You can stretch walls and make things higher, shorter. We don't have time to go over all of that. The important thing here is that you can do the basic stuff, okay? Surfaces and different shaped rooms, multiple rooms. And I'm going to create a schedule, a lighting fixture schedule. And I'm going to create a new fixture. By default, it takes me to all of the Acuity brand products, okay? But again, you can go to your hard drive, grab and download an IES file. And so this is the fixture that we use in the office right here. So I'm going to use that one. And there, and I don't see my, here we go. My OK button. And it brings the fixture in right here with all of its information. One thing to remember is there's this light loss factor. Over time, lenses get dirty. LEDs, all lights lose their intensity and their power over time. So if you want to simulate what happens in 10 years, change the loss factor to a 90. 90% of its original capacity. Okay? Let's do another fixture. Okay, it takes me back to the same place. But here I'm going to use I'm going to go ahead and get that panel again. Flat panel, E-panel, and I'm going to get a 5400 lumen, 40,000 or 4,000 Kelvin fixture. All right. That's the type B fixture. So I have a type A fixture and I have a type B fixture, but you can have as many as you want. And then when you're done, hit an OK button. Maybe I can just hit return. My resolution got changed when we did this, and now I can't get to. I think I can move this, can't I? I would do that. Unpin, no. Trying to move the taskbar so I can see my OK button.
Right click outside of where you are right now.
I hear?
Yeah, but not over an icon.
Yeah, I don't have any space where I don't have an icon.
Taskbar settings. Turn automatically hide to on.
That's cool. That's very cool. What if I didn't hide? What the hell?
There's the OK.
God, that was painful. All right, so now I have a light fixture. So if I'm back, when I go back to Luminaire, it shows me my light fixtures here. Okay, so let's look at the first one there, and I want to place it. I can place it and orient it. I can place it and aim it. But generally, you just want to place it. Okay, and so what height? Just like web app we used, 10 feet. Orientation, I'm just going to use 0 for now. That's good because this is the 0 position that you see. Tilt, if you want to like spin it on the X or Y axis. So I'm just going to do one, like, I'm going to place one there, and I'm going to right turn to get out of that. And I'm going to go over here back to modify, and I'm going to copy. You can also do array. There's an array, rectangular and polar, but I'm just going to copy for now. And I'm going to select it, right click, and then pick a point, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on my grid every, no, I don't think that's, yeah, that is 2 feet, okay. I don't think it's 2 feet. Sure what those units are. You can put a grid in. All right, right click when I'm done, and I'm gonna go back to the luminaire. I'm gonna grab a type B fixture. I'm gonna place it 10 feet. I'm just gonna leave it, and I'm just gonna eyeball a couple of them here. We all love 2x4s. I'm gonna return. Okay, if I go to a 3D view, are we on time?
8 minutes.
Okay, we're almost done. So now it's showing you the fixtures in the space, and I'm just going to go back to a plan view, and now I'm going to go to the calculation. I've got the 3 things I need. I have a room, I have a calculation zone, and I have light fixtures. And I'm going to calculate. So it goes through, it bounces off the walls and the ceilings and inner reflections and all that. And then when it finishes, it shows you your foot candle levels. These are really, really high. Obviously, that's not the quantity of those we would use. You know, here we're at in the 60s, the 45s. Over on the right, it shows you each of your calculation zones and the average, the minimum, the maximum, and of all your foot candles. So here's where you can determine, are you meeting your objectives for each of those spaces?
Does it tell you your uniformity ratio?
I don't know if it tells you the ratio.
Is that something we have to calculate?
It has average to minimum, which is your ratio. So that's 1.6 to 1, for one of them 1.7 to 1. So 70%. All right, so then let's do this. The other thing we can do is let's render this. We're going to render it so that we have color that we can see and better interpret. Okay, and I'm going to go to the view, and I'm going to change it to a dollhouse view in a perspective, and it's rendered. So now you can come in here and sort of see, like the wall that we were doing. We can look at the foot candles on the wall, see what kind of scalloping effect we might have. I'm going to zoom back out and come over here. Now, there's a big difference in brightness here because it uses a scale based on the minimum and maximum foot candle. And because we have 6,000 foot candles in that one room, that's why these rooms look dark.
Operating room.
Yeah. So, and no matter which way you go, it removes the surface that's in your way. Okay. And if I go back to a plan and I go to a wireframe and I go to an orthographic, I can also come in here to my luminaires and I can put labels on them that shows the designation and the height. And later you can print all this out with a schedule as a sheet. So this tells you which fixture and what height it is. So that's helpful. All right. So then, so the other thing you can do is if you're looking at your calculation zones, you can, see, where is that? You can change their colors. View. Calculations. There is a way to properties. Go to properties, select the calculation zone. That was a room. There, selected the calculation zone. You can display, I think I'm having this problem again, why my taskbar is still in the way. You can turn off the calculation points if you want to, and you can also do a render style for it. Let me see if, here we go. Here we go. We can display, we can shade. So that's, again, we've got this 6,000 lumen or foot candle thing going on. Let me pick this one. Just pick them all. You never have this sort of range between your minimum and your maximum where you'd have your colors not looking the way we expect them to. So let's turn everything on shaded. There we go. Now this room, the floor in this room looks it's hot, but it's a good consistency. And I'm gonna and I didn't pick the other one here, but we could also shade the one on the wall.
That was
Right. So this is, you know, these are the basics. Now when you get to this point, you can also go to this little print editor under File, and the print editor will pull up a sheet. Basically, you can set up your sheet whatever size you want, and then you can place your plan, your view, that view we just had. You can insert the lighting fixture schedule. You can insert the power density schedule, and you can insert the statistics for light levels and all of that. So you can see here, there's your light fixture schedule. So you can export that to Excel, give it to your engineers, and then this is your calculation zones, your minimum and your maximums and your average to minimum. And you can also include on this, if I had any, I didn't create any views, but if I created any views, they would show up. Surface statistics schedule locations drawing. Here's the drawing. You can insert you know, these 3D views. But if you had renderings like we had a minute ago, so if I go back to here and I go to views, currently I don't have any, but I'm going to go to a perspective view. I'm going to make it rendered. All right. So then here we go. So, okay, this is a view that'll be helpful. So I'm going to go to my views, and I'm going to save the current view, okay? And then when you go back to your sheet setup here, I might have to like close it and reopen it. Insert views. It's not showing up here because. Do I?
It says update project.
I don't see that.
Go back.
On here, you saw it?
Yeah.
Home.
Like a yellow
Home.
top.
Yeah, I do remember actually seeing that and using that, but I don't know where it went.
On the other window.
Let me just do this. Let me close this. I want to save it. Okay, go back to here, and I'll just save it into here. Sheet. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back to the print editor. So should open that up, and then my views should be oh, yeah, I saved it twice, I guess. They put it over top of my floor plan. Okay, so insert my drawing. I'm going to do a plan view of my drawing. All right, so you can crop this, you can scale it. It has all the tools to do that, but it brings in the plan with the calculation zones, but it's so small right now that, so let me see, the crop tool was, crop tool is, why have I lost my crop tool here? Yeah, I'm having a brain cramp. There's a crop tool here somewhere where you can crop it and then scale it, get it to whatever size you want. But anyway, I mean, that's just a rough setting up. You can change the titles, you can add to the title block and blah, blah, blah. You can make a PDF, or you can export this as a DWG. You can also export the, you can also export this. If you go back to a plan view and you go back to a orthographic, you can export this as a DWG, which you can then bring into Revit to lay out your lights. You can put your lights on top of whatever you've done here. So there are other things that we're not going to have time to go over, but if you've got like vaulted rooms or a room with half of it's a 2-story, I mean, you can do all of that. You can add geometry. You can construct structures. You can add walls. You can create whatever kind of soffits and things of the space that you want to, depending on how much accuracy you need. So you can get the model that you want right inside of here. You can also import a 3D DWG or a SketchUp model that'll be 3-dimensional. But you still have to put in a calculation zone. And this also this will also do daylighting. If you have windows, it'll do your daylighting calculations. So you can kind of look at both at one time if you want to. And it'll let you know what your foot candles are from your daylight. So
There's no Revit plugin that has all this functionality.
no. I mean, there are Revit lighting plugins, but none that I've seen that have been this thorough yet. Now I haven't looked in maybe a year. So, but this is so this is really for when you're in the design stage. You know, probably, I don't know, you might have a Revit model by then, but you can export the Revit file. It would be great if you could have all your lighting levels calculated in Revit by just bringing in your fixtures. But what Revit won't do is it's not going to give you how many fixtures you need and the spacing and all of that. It's just going to calculate what's there. And I'm not sure that you can even get foot candles calculated. Last time I checked, you could not. All right, so that's did I have anything else in the PowerPoint? Let me see. We went through all of that. Yeah, so then there was just an example of a plan, which we've already created one. And then this was just kind of showing you one last thing before you guys go. This is important.
The test.
Under tools, under tools, there is a, you can also do exterior flood lighting, roadways, just bring in lighting templates, wall washes. But right here, this lighting levels is a reference that is really, really handy for what foot candle levels do you need. So let's say I'm going to a educational facility. I'm doing auditorium. I'm going to do a lecture hall or multi-purpose performance space. The house, not the stage. Pre-post event. And it tells you your lighting levels based on your age group that you're looking for. And it has lots of helpful information down here, things you want to look out for. So that's a really handy tool to really find lighting levels for any kind of space that you can imagine. And they're all IES recommendations. You can see 5 foot candles, that's nothing. It gives you an average to minimum, and it gives you an average foot candles for your horizontal floor, and then your vertical 5 foot above finished floor. So your walls, your floor, and it changes based on age group. Just add 10 more years and it's 3 times as many. All right, any questions?
Thanks, Chief.
We have a file server. I have a thumb drive of fixtures. Okay, I think you might have two, but we're talking to different groups of quality. First light.
Mm-hmm.
We have, very best and CRI or whatever. Is there anywhere in our system story? Yeah. Other than being trying to find that's half of it.
Yeah, it's just finding what you want.
I think it's library. Yeah, for us, it's like a library of pictures that we use. And now
So one thing I can do is create a light fixture schedule in here that sits out on the hard drive that you can import, and it can have 200 fixtures in it with all the data IES files attached. So you just literally import that schedule, grab the ones you want, drop them into your calculations, and print that schedule out with images as a library PDF that you can pull up and go, yeah, I want this one. That's a type AC, and then you can drag and drop the AC off the schedule.
You're saying no, if we that schedule.
Yeah, or drop the IES file into maybe a folder that we can create, and then at some point, one person could be responsible for updating the schedule with the newest lights, so we don't have a bunch of duplicates in there. So that's an option. That's an option too.
We could just, have a folder.
Yeah. 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 No, that'd be a great idea. It would probably save a lot of time for us, and rather than everybody reinventing the wheel every time they have a project. These are can lights that are great for tall ceilings.
Price.
Yeah, that's the hard part. That's the hard part too.
And, we have similar, I found, we did some stuff, actually, she found some pretty good pictures. Yeah. There's some pictures she couldn't find. She had some pictures in the load. I like pictures like how, right? I think it'd be good to have a cost comparison too. We have some pictures and a lot of times we just get Jennifer or just get whoever to help us, but comparing pictures can save a lot of dollars.
So, just out of curiosity, when you I'm trying to figure out how to stop this GoToMeeting. But when you did that, Adam, when he got you a different fixture, did you compare the CRI? Did you compare the lumens per watt?
Yeah, that's exactly what.
And they were in the lumens?
Same.
Okay.
Got the same.
Interesting.
I was looking for a better picture.
Right. Right.
That's what I was the requirement. Hey, here's the better
That's interesting.
But I mean, it's good. The idea is that, I think we trust the reps, so we just didn't know it's just the cost difference between these.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just don't carry, but
sometimes it's really hard.
They don't carry the kind of brand that we want.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think it's good that way. If we have this library, we can just find. I mean, especially cases where you're very small.
All right, Adam. We can, to get someone. We need to talk about how we accomplish that, because it's the time issue.
This is cool, Timmy, thanks.
You're welcome.